Let's talk with the Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch, Chris Farrell. Chris, welcome to Victory News.
Good to be with you.
Now, Monday, Judicial Watch filed suit against the Justice Department regarding Special Counsel Jack Smith on 2 investigations targeting former President Donald Trump. Can you give us the details?
Sure. What we want to try to get is the staff listing and the expenses for Jack Smith's operation. He's running a special counsel operation that was formed 3 days after President Trump announced his candidacy. And we now have sufficient evidence from the Durham investigation that the Department of Justice and FBI is at an obsessive level of really a fixation with investigating President Trump. And we want to know who his staff is and how much money they're spending on this investigation. And they've stonewalled. They refuse to release the names of who the staff members are and what they're spending. And in this case, you'll remember when the Mueller investigation was underway, we again were successful in uncovering who his staff members were. And we found out things like Peter Strzok was somehow magically transferred from the FBI over to the Mueller investigation. That Weissman and a handful of other real political operatives were busy sharpening their axes to go after President Trump in an investigation that went nowhere. Now we have the Durham investigation that's been the results of which proved this obsessive fixation on get Trump, get Trump. Well, Jack Smith is now running 2 investigations against the former president. We want to have some accountability. Who is involved in this? What are they doing?
Wow, most transparent administration ever, so you would think that wouldn't be a hard thing to get. Okay, Chris, never before has a president, former or serving, been indicted by the Department of Justice. The indictment would be for document mishandling by Donald Trump. Now, Judicial Watch is the only litigant to ever gain a federal court decision on this type of matter. Tell us how and who it was.
The Clinton sock drawer case is what it's referred to. Taylor Branch was a historian who conducted an oral history interview with Bill Clinton during his presidency. And Bill Clinton sat down with Taylor Branch and they went on and on and on for hours and recorded all these interviews about his presidency to include classified information. And they recorded them on tapes. Taylor Branch kept a set of tapes and Bill Clinton kept a set of tapes. We sued the National Archives to get those tapes because we thought it was part of the presidency, part of the record. The American public should know about it. We lost 11 years ago in court, and Judge Amy Berman Jackson, in the only ruling concerning the Presidential Records Act and records and documents that belong to a president, the judge said that a president has an absolute, unreviewable right to all records and documents when he leaves the presidency. And in fact, goes on to say that the National Archives has no right whatsoever to attempt to determine what are presidential records and what are private records. The president, by his position, is allowed to take whatever he wants into his retirement, any kind of document.
Wow.
This is the law of the land for the last 11 years. It applies 100% to former President Clinton, and you're now supposed to believe the very same law applies 0%
wow, unbelievable.
to former President Trump.
Unbelievable. Now, you hosted retired Colonel Douglas McGregor on your Judicial Watch podcast recently. What is the current assessment of the Ukraine and American involvement there?
We're in very grave trouble. We're in what I refer to as a 1914 moment, that referring to sort of the brink of the First World War. We are pouring something like $150 billion into this war in Ukraine. What's really needed, in my view, is an immediate ceasefire and peace negotiations. And instead, we're escalating this conflict. It's in a position where we're going to confront, by proxy war via the Ukrainians, another nuclear power. And a lot of Ukrainians are dying, some Russians are dying, and there's a lot of destruction. What the world needs, what Europe needs, is ceasefire and peace negotiations. And my colleague Colonel McGregor would agree.
I absolutely agree with you. Chris Farrell, where can we learn more about Judicial Watch and listen to the podcast?
Thank you very much. Judicialwatch.org, and the podcast is called On Watch.
If you want to know what's going on, I guarantee you should listen to it. Sir, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Greg. God bless you.